Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. It was ruled a suicide 2 years ago. Why then is the FBI considering reopening the investigation into the death of a Columbus man?
So he was moving out of the house. So with his truck backed up to the door, some of his possessions in his truck, we're supposed to believe that he stopped and shot himself. We don't.
A look at the evidence in the case and the investigation many say was mishandled. The signs are telling of the problems facing Southern Indiana.
There's been a drug problem for at least 5 to 10 years around here that nobody took the initiative to take care of. It was more or less my opinion of brushed under the rug, a hush-hush type thing.
Now that officials have linked contaminated needles to the growing HIV epidemic, we ask whether the state is doing enough to get the problem under control and if this could have been avoided. Plus, a local community is recognized as one of the best small towns in America. There are many to choose from in Indiana. We'll reveal which one and hear what makes it so special. Those stories and the latest news headlines from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Indiana's unprecedented HIV outbreak is rapidly spreading. As of today, 142 people have tested positive since December, and the outbreak is no longer contained to just Scott County. The State Health Department announced this week 5 cases of HIV were confirmed in Jackson County. As Barbara Harrington reports, health officials, politicians, and everyday people remain at odds over how to stop HIV from spreading.
The streets of Austin are lined with campaign signs focusing on the future of this struggling small town. They're on every corner, in every yard, even greeting drivers on the outskirts of town. But it's the handwritten sign posted on Tammy Breeding's lawn that sends perhaps the most powerful message of all.
I had to make a statement. I want to take back my community, my neighborhood.
Breeding's neighborhood is the epicenter of an HIV outbreak unlike anything the Centers for Disease Control has seen in rural America.
Little baggies of paraphernalia that they have their drugs in, they'll just toss it down in the ditches.
Health department officials say people are spreading the disease primarily through intravenous drug use. And that's a problem Austin's been struggling with for years. You don't have to walk far down North Church Street before you find someone looking to buy or sell drugs.
The main drag, what I call it, is Church and Broadway. This is like a meeting corner for the drug deals, the prostitutes. You can see it go from one house to another down this strip here of where they're going to get their next fix. And they call them the shooting galleries because they go to get a shot and then they get high and then they walk to the next one.
It's gotten so bad. Some neighbors are putting up barricades to prevent addicts and dealers from using their driveways as trade-off points. And Breeding says a temporary needle exchange program Governor Mike Pence authorized is only making the situation worse.
I think if they continue this needle exchange, you're going to have the worst epidemic with drugs coming in from all over, that it's not going to be able to be contained the way they need to contain it.
The exchange is part of the state's effort to curb the outbreak. It's set up in a community outreach center in Austin and allows addicts to get enough clean needles for 1 week. They give their first names and get an ID card to join the program. So far, participation has been low.
We had to design the program from scratch. Nobody's ever done this before. So it took a while to design the program, and then once we started, it takes a while to gain people's trust, especially this population. They're not trusting.
The governor's executive order authorizes the program through May 25th, and only in Scott County. But HIV is spreading. There are now 5 cases in Jackson County, Scott County's northern neighbor.
The 5 cases that are reported in Jackson County, all of the contact tracing is complete. And so we feel that those 5 cases have been isolated and contained.
That's a line some folks aren't buying.
For the governor to think that he can contain the epidemic in Scott County with an emergency order is reckless and will cost the lives of thousands of Hoosiers.
Shane Avery works as a doctor in Scott County and was one of several people who testified during a House committee hearing this week, asking legislators to make needle exchange programs legal in high-risk communities. The bill would allow for local needle exchange programs in areas with high rates of hepatitis C, which is often an indicator of HIV. Proponents say the programs effectively quell outbreaks, but not if they're limited.
They know it's a bigger problem than Scott. I've not heard anyone make the statement that the state has been making, which is this is only Scott and this is only the situation, and when it's all over, it's all over. I think everyone knows this is a long distance run. It is a lifetime need until these people have treatment services available to them.
Executive Director of the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, David Powell, was the only person at the hearing to speak out against the needle exchange bill. He says legislators need a more long-term solution to the outbreak that addresses funding and substance abuse treatment.
If you at some point want to incorporate a needle exchange program in that mix, then that's your call, obviously. We just think it's too early to do that, and I'm worried that if you do that, you think you fixed the problem. Without treatment, without testing, without addressing these other more critical, more expensive public health needs, you don't fix anything.
On the streets of Austin, residents, including Clyde Polly, worry about what will happen if legislators don't make the needle exchange permanent. He's seen firsthand what an addict's desperation can do. His son was diagnosed with HIV and is now in rehab, trying to kick the habit.
They do it 3 and 4 and 5 times a day, you know. They can't do it just one time a day. It just goes, they do the thing one time, then a little bit later they'd be looking for another dose of it.
Polly sees the needle exchange program as a godsend. Extending it and getting more legislative help and state resources, he says could combat the town's crippling drug problem and lead to real change on Austin's streets.
I don't know what's going to happen down the road. I'd like to see it all change. I don't know how much hope there is for it to all change, though.
The proposed needle exchange bill wouldn't provide any funding to help local communities establish exchanges. Reporter Barbara Harrington has been following the story for weeks and joins us now. Barbara, are there any plans to extend the needle exchange program or HIV testing in other counties?
At this point, no, Joe. The state says they're solely focusing on Scott County. That's what the governor's executive order allows them to do. Now, they say they won't turn anyone away from free HIV testing. They want people to get tested and find out whether or not they're positive. But that needle exchange program only for Scott County residents. The CDC, however, though, today did issue a health advisory, and this is nationwide, letting people know that there is this drastic increase in hepatitis C throughout the country where intravenous drug use is happening, and letting them know that, hey, this could lead to an HIV outbreak. Here's how to prevent that from happening.
Now, you've been down in Scott County, and we can see the presence. I mean, you're seeing those road construction signs flashing for a health emergency. How big is the presence down there?
It's huge, Joe. There are little signs throughout town pointing people to this community outreach center. They want people to go there. And in addition to that, there are state health departments from Missouri, Virginia, and Colorado who have disease intervention specialists there on the ground. They offered up their help to help do contact tracing, track down people who have come into contact with people who are HIV positive. The state says they still have to get in contact with over 100 people that they have to do that tracing for.
But does the state think that it's been successful so far?
They're really not saying at this point. They say it's too early to tell. They are having more people come through, get tested, which we're seeing with the number of cases going up. They're having an increase in the needle exchange program participation, but they say it's just really too early to evaluate if this is being effective at this point.
How does the Scott County residents feel about all these people coming into their community?
They said it's been a long time coming, frankly. We heard them talking about how this drug problem has been going on for probably about a decade. And some of them are frankly angry that it took an HIV outbreak to get the state in there to help out.
Okay, thank you very much, Barbara. And now for headlines, we go over to Alex Dirkman, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thank you, Joe. Westfield High School officials say all the students injured in a stage collapse during a school production last night are doing well. The collapse happened around 10 o'clock during the finale of the school's production of American Pie. The floor extension over the orchestra pit gives way and students fall in. Take a look. More than a dozen students were injured. In a statement issued this morning, Governor Pence promised a thorough investigation into the collapse and expressed his relief that there were no fatalities or serious injuries. John Linnemeyer's name will still appear on May's primary election ballot, even though he has withdrawn himself from Bloomington's mayoral race. Linnemeyer announced during a primary debate broadcast here last night that he was dropping out and endorsing Darrell Neer.
Frankly, I think I'd be the best mayor this town has ever seen, but I'm not going to win. I can see that right now, and I'm a pragmatic guy, so I'm going to drop out. I don't want to be a Ralph Nader.
Before his announcement, though, the candidates debated a range of topics, including job growth, affordable housing, senior living, and development.
I am very disappointed that the council and the mayor have approved effectively numerous exceedances of the 40-foot height limit on the downtown zone, including the Graduate Hotel, which has been approved to be a 70-foot hotel in Kirkwood. I think that's a mistake. I think the administration and the council let those very large buildings be built downtown. It's very important to protect the aesthetic of Bloomington. I will be committed to that. I want to have local historic designation of the downtown square. I want to be sure that when we have rules like 40-foot limits, that we abide by them. And as mayor, I'll be sure that happens with me and the Plan Commission.
Okay.
Well, it's important that we acknowledge how the process works. The Plan Commission made the decision on the Graduate Hotel. The council has one appointee on that commission, and those are mayoral appointees that passed that hotel. It wasn't the council's responsibility in that approval process. But what we really need to focus on is looking forward to how do we give shape to our downtown and the rest of the community. It's going to come in the growth policies plan, which is going to be the most important, tied to our new zoning ordinances that will be in place. That will be the most important role our next mayor takes on.
Neer and John Hamilton will face off in the Democratic primary on May 5th. If sentenced to death, the 21-year-old found guilty of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing will be executed at a federal prison in Terre Haute. The sentencing for Jahar Sanarif began Tuesday. An Indiana State University criminology professor says the federal prison has a special unit for inmates convicted of terrorist-related offenses with heightened security on communications. It's possible Sanarif could also be housed in Terre Haute until his execution. Holocaust survivor and Terre Haute resident Eva Kor took the stand in Lindenberg, Germany this week to testify in a trial of a former Nazi guard. 93-year-old Oscar Groening is being tried on 300,000 counts of accessory to murder.
I feel sorry for him that he was so misguided, that he got involved in a sick ideology. And he obviously, at age 93, is willing to go to court because he's sorry for what he did. I will not permit myself to hate. I think hatred destroys the person who hates.
At Groening's request, he and Kor met briefly during a break in the trial on Tuesday. Kor tweeted that afternoon saying Groening fainted during that encounter. But Groening's fainting wasn't the only unusual event. The former Nazi guard specifically requested to hear Kor's statement before he finished answering questions for the day, after which the entire courtroom applauded. Kor was 10 years old when she and her family were sent to Auschwitz concentration camp. She and her twin sister Miriam were the only members of their family who survived. In 1984, Kor founded the organization Candles, which stands for Children of Auschwitz Nazi Deadly Lab Experiment Survivors. The former head of the state's transportation department says his decision to leave the agency was simply because it was time to move on. Carl Browning, who led INDOT since 2013, submitted his resignation to Governor Pence Wednesday via email. Pence quickly named INDOT's Deputy Commissioner Brandy Hendrickson to Browning's post. Governor Mike Pence signed a bill this week establishing a firefighter training academy. As we've reported, police departments in Indiana have had a centralized training academy for years, but fire departments have no equivalent. Firefighters say the academy will improve multi-department coordination and managerial training. The legislature has not determined how it will fund the program, but some of the money will come from a fee on the sale of fireworks. And a national survey of college students and hiring managers shows 80% of employers want new hires to have completed an internship. But only 8% of students say they've invested time in those opportunities. The Commission for Higher Education launched an initiative Monday aimed at improving Indiana's talent pipeline, dubbed Career Ready Indiana. The commission will act as a link between businesses, schools, and students looking to establish or boost internship experiences. And Joe, the state also helps financial aid students by giving companies money to provide paid internships.
All right, thank you very much, Alex.
Yes.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. When a Columbus man died 2 years ago, it was ruled as suicide, even though there were a lot of questions about the case. Coming up, why the FBI is now considering getting involved. And the Smithsonian offers this advice to travelers across the country. If you're vacationing, there's a small town in Indiana you should consider. Coming up, we tell you which community ranks among the top 20 to visit in 2015. These stories right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
I can change the world with my own 2 hands, make it a better place with my own 2 hands. I'm gonna make it a brighter place with my own 2 hands. I'm gonna help the human race with my own 2 hands. I can hold you in my own 2 hands, and I can comfort you with my own 2 hands, with my own 2 hands.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the death of Kerry Owsley in Columbus. His death was ruled a suicide, but his sister has never accepted that conclusion. She says her brother, a black man, was murdered, and in his case is revealing a pattern of nepotism within the county sheriff's department. The claims are bold, but she's been relentless in her campaign to reveal the truth. And as Casey Kuhn reports, the case has caught the attention of the FBI.
Kerry Owsley was found dead in his house on April 7, 2013. His wife found him lying in a chair that had been tipped backward. She also found a gun wrapped in cloth on the floor. Bartholomew County Police and coroner came on the scene shortly after and ruled it a suicide. Statements from Owsley's wife and stepsons pointed to a history of depression and suggestions of suicide to a psychiatrist. But Kerry's sister, Cheryl Owsley Jackson, believes the investigation was mishandled and that her brother would never have killed himself.
The day my brother died, he called his own 21-year-old son and asked him to come to help him move. So he was moving out of the house. So with his truck backed up to the door, some of his possessions in his truck, we're supposed to believe that he stopped and shot himself. We don't.
A forensic expert in Louisville, after hearing of the case, looked into the death scene on his own time. He says the path of the bullet through the body and where the bullet hole was found on the crime scene don't add up.
It is not true that if you were sitting in the chair when you were shot, as it goes in here, out the back, and hits the spindles, that is not consistent with the suicide if that bullet hole in the wall is associated with this wound.
Smock also says the bullet would not have enough energy to knock Owsley back like his wife says she found him at the scene.
Based on what I've seen, the inadequate investigation by the sheriff's office, the trajectories, right now I have a lot of questions.
At a hearing earlier this month at the Bartholomew County Courthouse, dozens of residents protested the way Owsley's case has been handled. At the hearing, Jackson's attorney argued Owsley's widow, Lisa, should be removed from Carey's estate because of what he called suspicious circumstances of death. Those circumstances include Lisa's ex-husband, Dwayne Janes. He was a Bartholomew County Sheriff's deputy and was allowed on the scene shortly after Owsley was found. According to police reports, he handled evidence and helped move the body.
Any police officer knows that if it's a case where you know the people involved, you don't belong on the scene. There's nothing you can do but raise suspicion.
DeVere Woods chairs the criminology department at Indiana State University. He says with what he's seen of the case, the sheriff's department could have taken steps to ensure something like this never happened.
If in a particular agency or in a particular unit, if officers know there is no accountability, then you see this more often.
According to reports from the sheriff's office, Janes had improperly involved himself in cases with his family members before and after the incident. Jackson thinks more should be done to stop mishandling investigations in the future.
A new sheriff came into office, and with the threat of being included in having responsibility for the cover-up, he agreed to transfer the file to the FBI.
Newly elected Sheriff Matthew Myers last month asked the FBI to look at the investigation. Jackson had previously petitioned the FBI but was denied. Woods says that's typical because family members often don't have a solid grasp on what makes a good investigation.
Families tend to see conspiracies, tend to feel that justice was not served, and quite frankly, families generally are not in a good position to evaluate whether the investigation was good or not.
Woods says the FBI will likely look into government corruption or a violation of civil rights if they chose to investigate the case. That depends on what they see in the reports. Jackson says even if the FBI doesn't come to a different conclusion about her brother's death, she hopes the process will shed light on what she considers a history of police misconduct.
And I just don't want anything like this to ever happen again. And I want everyone to remember who Carey Owsley was. You know, my only sibling, this great guy that laughed and loved to fish. I want them to remember that, not the way we've had to dissect his death in order to get where we are today with the FBI involved.
Reporter Casey Kuhn is here to talk more about what's next in this case. How is the Sheriff's Department dealing with the criticism?
Well, the current Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Matt Myers, actually hasn't come forth with any comment on this FBI case so far, but he was the one who requested that the FBI look at it shortly after he came in office.
You know, a county sheriff doesn't have as much resources as a big city like Indianapolis. How does that handle into this situation as well?
Well, yeah, like you said, smaller departments just don't have the resources for some aspects of an investigation, for example, an autopsy. And in this case, because it was ruled a suicide, there was no autopsy. And that I talked to an IU professor, or an ISU professor, who said that sometimes when they don't have enough money for an autopsy, they just usually do not issue one.
And we already know there have been some investigators suspended. Were there any other internal investigations or consequences from the sheriff's office?
Right, well, the officers in case were only suspended after an Indianapolis Star article came forth with the missteps that were involved in the investigation. Janes did get 5 days suspension with no pay, and he was supposed to come in front of a board from the Sheriff's Department to decide whether or not he should be fired, and he actually retired 2 days before that happened.
Now, just to be clear, the FBI hasn't decided whether they're going to launch a full investigation. What all goes into that?
Right, well, like I said, I talked to the professor, and he said that they're going to look at the reports that the sheriff sent them, and they're going to decide whether or not they're going to look at government corruption or a civil case, and they they're going to decide, they haven't come forth whether or not they're going to decide.
Is there any timeline?
I talked to them
FBI?
today, and they just said that there is nothing to report.
Okay. Casey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Little Nashville in Brown County, with its festivals, shops, and beautiful scenery, is considered a top spot to visit according to Smithsonian Magazine. In its list of the top 20 best small towns to visit in 2015, the magazine listed Nashville as number 13. Nashville hosts nearly 40 festivals each year, including the Bill Monroe Bean Blossom Bluegrass Festival, the oldest running bluegrass festival in the world. It's also home to the Brown County State Park.
Yes, and the trees are blossoming, dogwoods and redbuds are coming into bloom. It's gorgeous right now. Mushrooms are coming up all over the place, and folks are getting out on the trails and walking around town shopping, so it's a great time to be in Nashville.
This is the first time the Smithsonian has included Indiana in its best small towns list since the magazine started publishing it in 2012. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.